The crystal chandelier casts golden light across Grandma Lorraine's dining table. I smooth my wrinkled blouse, the nicest one I own, and try to focus on the birthday cake instead of my growling stomach. 3 jobs this week left little time for proper meals, but tonight is special. Grandma turns 71. And then the client actually tried to argue with me about the contract language I wrote. My brother Clark announces, gesturing with his fork. Can you imagine? I shut that down fast. My father beams at him. That's my boy. Always the smartest person in the room. I resist rolling my eyes. Clark never finished his degree, but somehow landed a position at Dad's friend's insurance office where he speaks with authority about things he barely understands. Yet our parents hang on his every word. Mom and Dad exchange a glance as Grandma Lorraine rises to cut her cake. Something passes between Thima's silent communication that makes Mom's fingers tighten around her water glass. Dad's shoulders stiffen. I've seen this dance before, their shared secrets creating invisible walls. Small piece for me, Grandma tells Mom with a wink in my direction. Got to watch my figure at 71. I smile back, grateful for her steady presence. While my parents' love feels conditional, Grandma Lorraine's warmth wraps around me like a quilt from childhood. Clark dominates the conversation through dessert, describing his golf game with Dad's business associates. I push cake around my plate, calculating if I can stretch my last $20 until payday on Friday. Rhea, honey? Grandma's voice cuts through my mental math. I meant to ask you, is the $1,200 I send you every month still enough for your expenses? College costs keep rising, and I worry. My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips. The dining room plunges into silence so complete I hear the grandfather clock ticking in the hallway. What money, Grandma? My voice sounds strange, distant. Mom's face drains of color. Dad suddenly finds something fascinating about the ceiling molding. Clark becomes intensely interested in folding his napkin into smaller and smaller squares. Grandma Lorraine looks from me to my parents, confusion creasing her forehead. The monthly allowance I've been sending for the past 2 years. For your education and living expenses. The cake turns to cement in my stomach. I haven't received any money from you, Grandma. Lorraine's expression hardens as understanding dawns. Her hand reaches for mine across the table. Richard? Diana? Would you care to explain? Mom clears her throat. Mother, perhaps we should discuss this privately. No, Grandma's voice cuts like steel. I think Rhea deserves to hear this. Dad shifts in his chair. We've been temporarily borrowing the funds, just until we get back on our feet. Borrowing. The word tastes bitter on my tongue. For how long? Mom stares at her plate. The full 2 years. 24 months. $1,200 each month. The numbers spiral through my mind like falling dominoes. $28,800. You've taken nearly $30,000 meant for me? My voice cracks. While I've been working 3 jobs, skipping meals? The memory hits me with physical force last winter, huddled in my unheated apartment, eating day-old bakery scraps my boss let me take home, choosing between textbooks and winter boots. The shame of borrowing $300 from my roommate Talia for a laptop when mine died mid-semester. Clark had some gambling debts, Mom whispers. We couldn't let him face those consequences. The room tilts slightly. Clark, always Clark. You've managed fine without it, Dad says, waving his hand dismissively. Built some character. Character. As if my hunger was character development in their family drama. You've managed fine without it, I repeat slowly. While I ate expired food, while I worked until 2 a.m. before exams. Clark needed emergency help, Mom interjects. His situation was different. I think of my swollen feet after double shifts. The nights I cried from exhaustion. The scholarship I lost when my grades slipped because I couldn't stay awake to study. While I was skipping meals? The words emerge stronger now, my voice finding its foundation. Grandma Lorraine covers my hand with hers. Her fingers feel warm, solid. I had no idea, sweet girl. No idea at all. Something shifts inside me, a tectonic plate moving after years of pressure. I meet my father's eyes without flinching. For the first time, I see not the towering figure of my childhood, but a man who failed the most basic parental duty, protecting his child. I trusted you, I tell them, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. Both of you. The walls of excuses they've built begin to crumble under the weight of this simple truth. Grandma's hand squeezes mine in solidarity. I straighten my shoulders and feel something unfamiliar bloom in my chest, not just anger or hurt, but a quiet, unshakable certainty. They've made their choice, again and again. Now I'll make mine. Next morning, the sunlight streams through Grandma Lorraine's study windows, casting golden rectangles across the polished oak floor. I perch on the edge of a leather chair, my hands wrapped around a mug of coffee that's more for comfort than caffeine. Family photographs line the walls, younger versions of us smiling at birthday parties and holiday gatherings. The images feel like artifacts from another family entirely. I never imagined they would do this. Grandma Lorraine pulls open her desk drawer and removes a thick manila folder. Her silver hair catches the light as she shakes her head. But the evidence is undeniable. She spreads bank statements across the desk. Red circles mark withdrawals dating back 5 years. The numbers blur before my eyes, but the total hits me with physical force. $90,000? My voice cracks. That's impossible. Your college fund. Grandma's fingers trace the paper. I established it when you were born. Your parents were trustees, but the money was legally yours at 18. I think of the scholarship I lost last semester when my grades slipped, the student loans accumulating interest, the nights I fell asleep at my laptop too exhausted to finish assignments. But what about Clark's college fund? I ask. Grandma's expression hardens. Clark never attended college, Rhea. Not one class. The room tilts slightly. But he talked about his business courses. Dad bragged about his grades. Fabrications. She slides another document forward, a credit card statement with charges from casinos, online gambling sites, luxury purchases. This is where your education money went. My brother's voice echoes in my memory. Had to drop that economics class. Too basic for someone with my experience. The casual lies, told so smoothly I never questioned them. I've changed my will this morning with my lawyer. Grandma says, her voice steady. And I've arranged for direct monthly payments to you, $1,600. The money will go straight to your account. They'll be furious. My stomach clenches. Grandma reaches across the desk, covering my hand with hers. Let them be. I nod slightly, thinking of what approach to take next, as I will fight them till the end. Later that day, the guest room is cool and quiet as evening shadows lengthen across the walls. I sink onto the bed, bone-tired yet restless. 3 missed calls from Mom illuminate my phone screen. I silence it and slide open the nightstand drawer, looking for a pen. Something plastic clatters against wood. An old smartphone, Mom's previous model before she upgraded last Christmas. The weight of it feels strangely significant in my palm. On impulse, I press the power button, surprised when the screen glows to life. No password protection. Typical. I scroll through her text messages, not sure what I'm looking for until I find it, a conversation with Dad from last January. Richard. Lorraine called asking why Rhea's thanking her for money she never received. Diana. What did you tell her? Richard. That Rhea must be confused. I reminded her about her memory issues. Diana. Good. Let Rhea think Grandma broke her promise. She'll toughen up. Richard. Exactly. Clark needs this breathing room to get back on his feet. Diana. Rhea will be fine. She's always been the responsible one. The phone grows heavy in my hand. My hardship wasn't circumstantial, it was engineered. They watched me struggle, knowing they caused it. They saw me skip meals, work until exhaustion, and chose to let it continue. She'll toughen up. As if my hunger was character development in their twisted family drama, I went to the bathroom as I suddenly could not breathe anymore. The bathroom mirror reflects a stranger, eyes ringed with shadows, cheekbones too prominent from months of irregular meals. I grip the sink edge, memories flooding back with brutal clarity. Memory flashbacks to December, last year, standing in the campus bookstore, calculating which textbooks I could afford, choosing between course materials and winter boots. The shame burning in my chest when I finally asked Talia for a loan. I need $300 for a laptop, I'd whispered, unable to meet her eyes. Mine died and I can't complete assignments without it. The contrast slices through Mimi desperation against Clark's protection, my struggle against his comfort. I'd worked double shifts at the bakery, serving coffee with hands raw from cleaning products, while he gambled away my future. Tears blur my vision, but something else rises beneath the pain, a hot, clarifying anger that burns away confusion. For the first time, I see my parents' actions without the filter of childhood loyalty. I splash cold water on my face and watch the droplets trail down my skin. Something has shifted inside me, a permanent fault line separating before from after. That's when I get the idea to call my friend Talia for help. For an hour, I am talking to Talia, explaining everything. They let you think she had broken her promise? Talia's voice through the phone carries the perfect balance of outrage and support. That's beyond messed up, Ria. I curl into the window seat, watching darkness settle over Grandma's garden. I still can't believe it was intentional. Believe it, Talia says firmly. And know you deserve better. Grandma knocks softly before entering with a steaming mug of tea. She holds up a document with official letterhead. My lawyer will handle everything. The first transfer will complete tomorrow. A notification chimes on my Phonia bank alert. Funds received. $1,600. The number glows on the screen, representing not just money but something far more valuable. Freedom from desperation. Security. Breathing room. After Talia and I hang up, I find a small notebook in my backpack. The pages are thin and cheap, but they hold my first list of boundaries. Simple statements written in blue ink. I will not accept lies. I will not protect those who harm me. I will not carry shame that isn't mine. I will not sacrifice my future for others' comfort. I close the notebook and place it on the nightstand. For the first time in 2 years, I slide under the covers without calculating tomorrow's work hours or worrying about upcoming bills. Sleep comes swiftly, dreamless and deep, the rest of someone finally unburdened. 3 weeks later, after the incident, I am gathering my courage to move on and keep myself busy. The textbook blurs before my eyes as afternoon sunlight slants through the dorm window. My highlighter hovers over a paragraph about business ethics, a concept my parents clearly never mastered. 3 weeks have passed since Grandma Lorraine's birthday dinner revelation, and I've almost adjusted to the strange sensation of having enough money for basic necessities. A sharp knock jolts me from my concentration. No one visits on Tuesday afternoons. Talia has lab until 4, and my study group meets Thursdays. When I open the door, my stomach drops. Mom and Dad stand in the narrow hallway, their bodies blocking any escape route. Mom clutches her purse with white knuckles. Dad's mouth forms what he believes is a concerned smile but looks more like a salesman's practiced pitch. Surprise, honey, Mom says, her voice artificially bright. We were in the area. My parents have never been in the area of my campus before. Not once in 2 years. May we come in? Dad doesn't wait for an answer, shouldering past me into my cramped single room. The space shrinks with their presence, the walls closing in like a trap. Mom perches on my unmade bed while Dad examines my desk, picking up my calculator as if assessing its value. My shoulders straighten instinctively. 2 years ago, I would have hunched inward, made myself smaller to accommodate their intrusion. What do you want? The directness of my question surprises even me. They exchange a glance. The same silent communication I witnessed at Grandma's dinner table. We're worried about your grandmother, Dad begins, replacing my calculator with careful precision. She's been making some concerning decisions lately. Lorraine isn't herself, Mom adds, patting the bed beside her, an invitation to join their conspiracy. The doctor mentioned early signs of diminished capacity last year. The lie lands between us, bold and transparent. Grandma Lorraine, who solves the New York Times crossword in ink and manages her own investment portfolio, has never shown a single sign of mental decline. This rift in the family is breaking her heart, Mom continues, dabbing at dry eyes. Family should stick together, especially now. What do you really want? I remain standing, arms folded across my chest. Dad sighs heavily, abandoning the concerned act. She's changed her will, cut us out completely. And Clark, Mom adds quickly. Your brother needs help. His gambling debts have become serious. Men have threatened him, Ria. The familiar pattern emerges. Clark's problems always supersede mine. The sun warms my back through the window as I consider my parents really see them, perhaps for the first time. We need you to talk to her, Dad states flatly. Convince her to reconsider. You owe us this much, Mom adds. After everything we've sacrificed raising you. A bitter laugh escapes me. Sacrificed? Like the $30,000 Grandma sent for my education that you stole? Borrowed. Dad corrects, his jaw tightening. And family helps family. Clark's situation is... I know exactly what Clark's situation is. My voice gains strength with each word. While you were borrowing my money, I worked 3 jobs. Do you know what that looks like? Let me show you. I extend my hands, palms up. The skin is rough, cracked around the knuckles from industrial dishwashing detergent. A small burn scar from the bakery oven marks my right wrist. I skipped meals to pay for textbooks. I wore the same 3 outfits for 2 years. I lost a scholarship because I fell asleep during an exam after working until 2 a.m. Mom's face pales. Good. Let her see the reality they created. Your brother needed, she begins. I needed parents. I interrupt, pulling my mother's old phone from my desk drawer. But you chose to be Clark's sponsors instead. Their eyes widen as recognition dawns. The forgotten phone. The evidence. I found this in Grandma's guest room. You left it behind last Christmas. I open the text message chain between them, dated 16 months earlier. Let Rhea think Lorraine broke her promise. She'll toughen up. Clark needs the money more right now. Dad's face darkens to crimson. You had no right to read private messages. And you had no right to steal money meant for me. His finger jabs toward my face. Listen here, young lady. No, you listen. The calm in my voice startles him more than any shouting could. Family doesn't treat family this way. You made your choice. Again and again. You chose Clark. That's your right as parents. But now I'm making my choice. Mom starts to cry, her shoulders shaking. Not the calculated tears of manipulation, but something genuine breaking through. If you want any relationship with me going forward, there are conditions. I take a deep breath. First, acknowledge what you did without excuses. Second, family counseling all of us. Third, you repay every cent you took from me, even if it takes years. Dad's laugh holds no humor. You don't dictate terms to us. We're your parents. Parents protect their children. All their children. I move toward the door, opening it wide. This conversation is over. Please leave. You ungrateful little dad starts. Richard. Mom's hand on his arm stops whatever venom was coming next. Her eyes meet mine, something like recognition flickering there. We should go. They file past me. Dad's anger radiating like heat, Mom's perfume lingering in the stale dorm air. The door closes with a soft click that echoes with finality. I expect tears or shaking or some physical manifestation of the confrontation. Instead, a peculiar calmness settles over me. I straighten my textbooks, smooth my bedspread where Mom sat, and return to my studies. An hour later, Talia bursts in with her usual whirlwind energy, tossing her backpack onto her bed. Sorry I'm late. Lab ran. She stops, studying my face. What happened? You look different. My parents stopped by. I close my textbook. Oh God, are you okay? She drops beside me, ready for damage control. I smile a real smile, not the tight-lipped version I've perfected over years of hiding pain. I actually am. I told them to leave. Set conditions for having any relationship with me going forward. Talia's eyes widen. Holy shit, Rhea. That's huge. She grins suddenly. This calls for celebration. Pizza? My treat. Later, sprawled across our beds with a cheap pepperoni pizza between us, I described the confrontation. With each detail shared, my shoulders relax further, as if shedding an invisible weight I've carried for years. That night, I sleep straight through until morning 8 uninterrupted hours without waking to anxiety or hunger or worry. The first peaceful night in 2 years. 3 weeks later, I will face new challenges, but I will be ready. The afternoon sun streams through the library windows, casting golden rectangles across my textbook. For once, the words don't swim before my exhausted eyes. 3 weeks have passed since the showdown in my dorm room, and small miracles bloom around me like spring flowers after a harsh winter. I flip to the next page of my marketing textbook purchased new instead of borrowed from the reserve desk. The fresh paper smell mingles with library dust and someone's coffee. My stomach doesn't growl as I inhale. Real meals, 3 times daily, have become my strange new normal. Excuse me, are you Rhea Kavanaugh? I look up to find Professor Winters standing beside my study carrel, a folder tucked under her arm. Her silver-framed glasses catch the light. Yes, that's me. Your analysis in yesterday's discussion was impressive. She taps the folder. I have a research assistant position opening next month. 20 hours weekly, flexible schedule. Would you be interested? My pen freezes above my notes. Just last semester, I'd watched classmates secure coveted positions while I rushed between jobs, too exhausted to apply. I would, actually. The words emerge with surprising confidence. I've dropped my night job, so my schedule has some breathing room now. Professor Winters nods, slides a card across the table. Email me your transcript. We'll talk details next week. As she walks away, I touch the embossed lettering on her card. Another small miracle I can actually accept. My phone vibrates. Mother's fourth voicemail this week. I silence it without checking, no longer feeling the immediate stomach clench her calls once triggered. The countless messages follow a pattern now. Concern about my irrational behavior, followed by thinly veiled guilt trips about family loyalty. I pull out my planner and cross off another item. Financial aid, office health insurance options. The meeting had gone better than expected. You'd qualify for the university plan, the counselor had told me. Coverage starts next month. My father's email threat to remove me from their insurance had lost its power. The bakery schedule for weekend shifts sits in my planner, the only job I kept. Not from necessity, but because I genuinely enjoy the work. The scent of sourdough, the quiet hours before sunrise, the satisfaction of creating something with my hands. Mr. Sullivan even bumped my pay after I cut back my hours. Quality over quantity, he'd said, patting my shoulder. A text chimes from Talia. They called my phone again. Want me to block them too? Please, I respond. Flying monkeys everywhere this week. Aunt Patricia had called yesterday. Cousin Michael the day before. Always the same script concern about the misunderstanding with my parents. Grandma Lorraine's legal letter establishing boundaries hadn't stopped their campaign, but it had given me solid ground to stand on. I pull out a letter from my backpack, the carefully worded email I'd sent to extended family last week. Printed and read so many times the creases are starting to tear. Not an accusation, but a simple statement of facts. No embellishments needed when the truth is damning enough. Most had stopped calling after that. The silence feels like victory. My gaze drifts to the library window. Students cross the quad, their laughter carrying faintly through the glass. Last semester, I would have watched them with hollow envy, their carefree existence so different from my desperate scramble to survive. The worn spiral notebook beside my textbook holds my weekly budget. Black numbers instead of red. Enough for rent, food, books, even a small emergency fund growing by the week. The sensation still startles Meth's absence of constant financial panic. I stretch my shoulders, feeling muscles that no longer ache from double shifts. My body is remembering how to exist without constant exhaustion. My last biology test came back with an A. The first since freshman year. My phone lights up again. Not my mother this time. Clark. I stare at my brother's name on the screen, my finger hovering over the decline button. We haven't spoken since Grandma's birthday dinner. Part of me expects another attack, another attempt to pull me back into their reality. But something makes me answer. Hello? My voice sounds wary even to my own ears. Ria. His voice sounds different, steadier, lacking the slick confidence that once coated his words like oil. It's me. I know who it is, Clark. I gather my books, moving toward the library's quiet zone where my conversation won't disturb others. I'm calling from Pinewood Recovery Center. A pause. I've been here for 2 weeks. The unexpected words stop me mid-step. Rehab? Yeah. He takes an audible breath. I'm doing a step where I make amends. But this isn't about checking boxes, Ria. I need to say this. I lean against the wall, bracing myself for manipulation disguised as apology. I knew about the money, Clark says. All of it. I knew they were taking what Grandma sent for you. His voice cracks slightly. I watched you work yourself sick while I gambled away thousands. I didn't stop them. I didn't help you. The simple admission hits harder than any elaborate apology could. No excuses, no expectations. I don't expect forgiveness, he continues into my silence. I just needed you to hear that I know what I did, what we all did to you. For the first time in years, I hear my actual brother, not the golden child, not the entitled man-child, but Clark. Fallible, damaged Clark. Thank you for telling me, I finally say, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounds. Perhaps the biggest miracle isn't the money or the rest or even the improved grades. It's this. Standing firmly in my truth while feeling the ground beneath me, solid and sure. 2 days later, I am meeting my brother. The coffee shop window frames the October mountains like a postcard. I check my watch again 10 minutes early. My stomach knots as I rehearse what I'll say when Clark arrives. 3 months since Grandma's birthday dinner feels both forever and yesterday. The bell above the door chimes. I look up. For a moment, I don't recognize him. Gone is the bloated face and bloodshot eyes. This Clark stands taller, his shoulders squared beneath a simple gray sweater rather than his usual designer labels. His hands, once constantly fidgeting, rest steady at his sides. Rhea. He hesitates at my table. Thank you for meeting me. I gesture to the empty chair, not trusting my voice yet. The wooden seat scrapes against the floor as he sits. You look different, I say finally. A small smile touches his mouth. 92 days sober. He drums his fingers once on the table, then stills them. They say the body starts healing faster than the mind. The waitress arrives with my black coffee. Clark orders herbal tea, another surprise. When we're alone again, he pulls a worn leather notebook from his pocket and places it between us. I've been working on my 4th step, making a fearless moral inventory. My psychology classes flash through my mind, the 12 steps of recovery. I wait. I knew about the money, Rhea. His voice drops so low I have to lean forward. From the beginning, I knew Dad was taking what Grandma sent for you. The confirmation hits harder than I expected. Somehow, hearing it from him makes the betrayal solid, undeniable. It started small, Clark continues, eyes on his notebook. 5 years ago, I lost $200 on a football game. Dad covered it, told me not to worry. By last year, I was $12,000 in debt to people who don't send polite collection notices. I watch his hands steady but white-knuckled now. When Grandma started sending your monthly allowance, Dad suggested borrowing from it temporarily. Just once, he said. Clark finally meets my eyes. I didn't object. I was afraid of the people I owed money to, and I was afraid of disappointing him even more. Outside, fallen leaves skitter across the sidewalk. A child laughs somewhere down the street. Why are you telling me this? I ask. Because you deserve the truth. And because I'm not asking for forgiveness. He opens the notebook, revealing neat columns of figures. This is everything. Dates, amounts, where the money went. My therapist says I can't make proper amends without full disclosure. The pages blur before me. $28,000. My college fund. My food. My heat in winter. Mom and Dad. My voice cracks. They refuse to see any of this as wrong, don't they? Clark closes the notebook. They declined family counseling. Said they'd handled enough family drama with my rehab. He rubs his temple. My therapist explained it. They created this whole system where I was simultaneously the golden child and the eternal screw-up. You were the responsible one who needed nothing. I needed parents, I whisper. I know, his voice breaks. We both did, just in different ways. Sunlight shifts through the window, painting golden rectangles on our table. An old Willie Nelson song plays softly through the cafe speakers, reminding me of rides in Grandma's car. They've asked me to fix things with you, Clark says. To bring you back into the fold, their words. I straighten. And? I told them no. He looks up, something new in his eyes. I told them I wouldn't be their messenger anymore, that what they did was unforgivable. The unexpected alliance catches me off guard. My throat tightens. I don't know if I can forgive you, I say honestly, but I respect what you're doing now. Clark nods, accepting this. I understand. I wrap my hands around my coffee cup, drawing warmth from the ceramic. I have conditions, for any relationship with them. Real therapy, not just one session for show. Actual accountability. They won't do it, Clark says softly. Not now, anyway. Then I can't have them in my life. The words fall like stones, heavy but necessary. And any relationship with you depends on your continued recovery. That's fair. He closes the notebook. More than fair. We sit in silence for a long moment. Not comfortable, but not hostile either. Something new taking shape between us, fragile as a soap bubble, but real. You remind me of Grandma, Clark says suddenly. She visited me in rehab last week. Same steel spine. A smile touches my lips. Highest compliment you could give me. When we leave the coffee shop an hour later, Clark doesn't hug me or make promises about the future. Instead, he says something that stays with me long after. We were both damaged by different sides of the same coin. I watch him walk away, his posture straight in a way I've never seen before. For the first time, I see him not as the favored son or the family disaster, but as another survivor of our parents' broken love. The mountains stand sentinel against the autumn sky as I turn toward campus, each step feeling somehow lighter than before, and I will finally find my peace again in 6 months. The spring sunshine bathes the quad in golden light as I cross campus toward the library. Textbooks no longer weigh down my shoulders like concrete blocks, partly because I can finally afford the digital versions, but mostly because I stand taller these days. Professor Henley waves from the steps of the science hall. "Ria, just reviewed your research analysis. Exceptional work. I'd like to expand your position next semester if you're interested." 6 months ago, I would have stammered through my response. Today, I meet her eyes directly. "I'd love that opportunity. Thank you." She smiles, tapping her folder. "Your perspective on community banking practices is refreshing. Have you considered applying for the Wilcox Fellowship?" The fellowship, a prestigious summer opportunity I'd never dreamed of pursuing. Now the possibility unfurls before me like an invitation. "I'll submit my application next week," I tell her, warmth spreading through my chest as she nods approvingly. Inside my bag, my phone buzzes with a text from Talia. "Miami pics uploaded. Still can't believe we pulled it off." The memory brings an involuntary smile. 4 days of sunshine, our first real vacation. Nothing extravagant, a budget motel room shared with 2 other girls. Street food instead of restaurants, but the freedom of those days still lingers in my bones. The sensation of sand between my toes, laughter bubbling up from some long untapped spring inside me, sleeping past sunrise simply because I could. I find an empty bench beneath a sprawling oak tree and pull out my planner. The pages no longer contain desperate calculations stretching every dollar. Instead, they hold possibility. Study sessions, research deadlines, weekend shifts at the bakery I now keep, because I enjoy the work and the people. The scent of fresh bread still brings comfort, but no longer represents survival. My phone rings. Grandma Lorraine's name lights up the screen. "How's my favorite academic superstar?" Her voice carries the smile I can't see. "Just got offered an expanded research position," I tell her, unable to keep the pride from my voice. That doesn't surprise me one bit. Something rustles in the background. She's probably working in her garden. "Did you see the campus housing application I emailed? For you and Talia next year?" "Filled it out this morning. 2-bedroom with a real kitchen. The prospect still feels miraculous." "Wonderful." A pause. "I've booked my flight for graduation weekend. Too early, I know, but hotel rooms fill up fast. This is new for both of us, planning futures instead of managing crises." I close my eyes against unexpected tears. "I'd like to take you to dinner," she continues. "Celebrate that Dean's List achievement properly. My counselor calls it building new associations, replacing memories of family gatherings fraught with tension with healthier experiences. One meal, one conversation, one accomplishment at a time." After we hang up, I find the envelope tucked between textbook pages, Mother's handwriting, the letter I've carried for 3 days without opening. No urgency presses on me now, no desperate need to please, no fear of rejection. Just a quiet acknowledgement that whatever words wait inside cannot define me. I slip it back unopened. Perhaps tomorrow, perhaps next week. Their timeline no longer dictates mine. As afternoon slides toward evening, I walk toward the library. The path mirrors one I took countless times last year. Same bricks, same century-old buildings, but the woman walking feels reborn. In the window's reflection, I catch a glimpse of myself. Shoulders squared, chin lifted, eyes clear. The last golden light of day brushes campus with warmth. For the first time in years, I feel it reach all the way inside Minot, just touching my skin but illuminating something essential that was always there, waiting to be recognized. I am more than what was done to me. I am what I choose to become.